86 Charles is brought to you by Amazon. Go to 86charles.com and click on the Amazon link. Amazon is the perfect place to start prepping for the end, now that the Donald is president. The apocalypse is nigh.
Last month, a California woman died, and 5 family members fell seriously ill after eating mushrooms they had picked in the woods. Health officials believe the culprit was the death cap mushroom, the most common cause of deadly mushroom poisoning in the United States.
Hi, this is Charles. You are full of bullshit, my friend. I will sue you for everything you have. I will sue your ass.
Welcome to 86 Charles, with your hosts John Darby and Travis Spencer.
And with that, welcome to 86 Charles. Travis Spencer. Hello, sir.
John Derby, as always, great to hear your voice. How are you?
Whew, man, so good.
I don't believe it, but I am literally doing great, John. We won't get into it
I mean,
because we've got to do a podcast.
that's weird, and I don't know why you would tease something you're not going to pay off.
That's not how this works. Let's talk about death caps, bro. This is why I'm excited.
Yeah, no, for
Death
sure.
caps.
That's what I came here to
Tell me a
talk
little
about.
more information about the death caps, please.
Well, we need to know more so that you don't, in fact, ingest them, because you might, in fact, die.
Whoa.
So the headline for this article is The World's Most Dangerous Mushroom and What It Did to an 18-Month-Old Girl. That is a heck of a headline. So they sprouted up in abundance after heavy rains poking up through California lawns and forest, appearing harmless to some of those who found them, as though they'd make a good meal. And so they do at first. The death cap mushroom is said to be delicious. A new federal report detailed what came after consumption for 14 people who sampled the Bay Area's bloom of death cap, or, I'm probably going to mess this up, Amanita phalloides? Phalloides? Amanita phalloides, that's what I'm going with. Violent nausea in all cases. For some days later, organ damage as the death cap's potent toxins ravaged the liver. Some victims got off relatively easily, including 4 young men who had expected a psychedelic trip, but ended up having their insides washed out with fluids in a hospital. That is the only known treatment for that poisoning. 3 who ate the California death caps needed liver transplants, and one of them, an 18-month-old girl, now has permanent neurological damage. None of the 14 people in California died. They were lucky. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have estimated that the death cap, which grows all over the world, is responsible for 90% of fatal mushroom ingestions worldwide. Yikes.
It's kind of terrifying.
Death caps. Yeah.
Well,
I could see you being one of those dudes.
no, because I have my mushroom field research book, John, and I know that I don't go towards anything
Nice.
that is a phalloid. Okay? There's a lot of reasons
Man,
that I
good
don't
call.
go for phalloids. You know, I have my own phalloid. I don't need to ingest other phalloids out there. Amanita, sure, I'll go for the amanitas. But the phalloid, John, it's not my game. It's not my department.
Not into it.
Not it. Just not going to
See,
happen.
why didn't you step in and tell me how to pronounce that, since you know? I was struggling.
I was just going to
struggling
wait.
through that.
I was just going to wait, you know, because it's this phallic thing. And I figured you were really into
But
it.
it's, yeah, no, I get it. I get that ultimately you were like, oh, I'm just going to wait to make the dick joke.
Dick
but when
joke.
you actually know something,
Pow.
you should chime in.
No, I have no idea.
I
It's
think
just
we would all
it
find
sounds
it
like a dick.
refreshing.
It's just, I mean, it's a genus and it's a scientific name. I mean, all mushrooms kind of look phallic,
Yeah, no, I'm aware.
obviously. But when it's called phalloidus or whatever, like,
I thought for sure bringing a mushroom story to the table would at least keep you interested enough in the actual story and not have you drift off into something else that had nothing to do with it.
I mean, John, here's the thing.
I was
I've never
it's my
foraged for
fault.
mushrooms
It's my fault.
because you know what I know about mushrooms? About half of them are poisonous as fuck. And you know the mushrooms I've eaten?
Yeah.
They're fucking crazy as fuck. I'm not just gonna go out and like flipping over cow patties and just eating random mushrooms. Like I don't know where the hell I got my mushrooms from ever. Like that I should have ever trusted them. And it's bizarre as fuck. Like everything is crazy. Like but the last thing I'm doing is foraging. I'm hoping that whoever drug dealer A, this is exactly why drugs need to be legal, John. This is it.
Dude, I mean, I actually agree with the majority of everything you said there, which is weird.
Yeah, what's going on with you? Are you
Surprises
okay?
me.
Feeling all right? No, but honestly,
Yeah,
like,
no, it was, I mean,
if people are
as
out,
nonsensical as you often are, that was all pretty well in line.
I know for a fact, I've always heard that, like, because I guess I did eat mushrooms as a 18 or 19-year-old probably the first time, but you heard the horror stories of people who went out and looked for mushrooms and got sick. So you just don't go pick a random mushroom.
No, and and especially wild mushrooms. I was always under the impression that wild mushrooms probably gonna make you sick.
Right. And you have to be really good. You have to actually
And so that was
go get the book and you can actually identify it. But even then, like I'm not what do they call them? A mycenologist, or what was the word?
Oh, what?
I
didn't say it.
There was in the article you sent me. There was the word for somebody who's an actual expert in the field.
I told you we have different articles. You probably have the.
Well, thanks a lot, John. So this is how you try to create an argument. You send me the Fox News article of the same story, and then you read. What was yours? A mycologist. That's what I'm telling you.
Mycologist.
Mycology is the branch of biology concerned with the study of fungi, including their genetic and biochemical properties, John. You don't know this?
Not off the top of my head.
All right, but I'm not a mycologist. I'm just a random dude who liked to eat mushrooms earlier in my life, and so I'm not just going to be flipping over cow patties looking for mushrooms. That's what I'm saying.
But is the dealer a mycologist?
That's the problem. Like, why do I suddenly trust this guy because he knows something, right? Who knows who that person is?
Probably knows more about it than either of us. I would
hope.
guess.
I mean, you can go online and find spores and grow your own, and you think it's psilocybin, but I don't know, man. I've always been worried about mushrooms.
No, I've known guys that have grown their own. I don't even think it's that hard. I mean, you did it in a pretty small fish tank.
I do have a little issue with the way you presented this, though, John, because when you sent me the article, you sent me a Fox News article. And where did you read your article from?
Well, I told you, it's basically the same article, but mine came from the Washington Post.
Okay, basically the same article.
That was the one I was trying to find. I just couldn't find it when I sent you the
But are
link.
you just purposely trying to fucking fire me up? Are you trying to make me sound like a right-wing asshole? What are you doing?
No.
You're making me read.
The article was the same.
You're disseminating information. You think you're the gatekeeper, John? You're not the fucking gatekeeper, bro.
Oh, my God. I don't think I'm the gatekeeper. I told you the article's the same. I was very transparent.
Fair and balanced. Were you fair and balanced in how you presented everything?
Yes, fair and balanced. As I know you like your news partitioned to you.
Well, this is awful for the 18-month-old. Everybody else can go f themselves for being idiots.
Permanent damage.
Yeah.
18.
The rest of them. Although there was one more interesting
thing.
thing.
You go out and forage for wild mushrooms and feed it to your baby.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
It seems a little risky.
The thing I thought was interesting is they cured some of them with milk thistle, which is an experimental thing, and it seemed to work. I thought that was pretty cool. Like, it's not FDA approved.
That is their experimental antidote.
That's pretty cool. I like it when we're using natural things rather than some crazy chemical that they developed in a lab somewhere, you know? I enjoy that.
Hey, I'm sure if they could fix it with a laser, they'd fix it with a laser, but milk thistle's all they got right now.
For the love of God, just avoid foraging for your own mushrooms and probably all phalloides.
Yes.
At least me. I mean, I don't speak for everybody on that.
See? And I don't even know if you can speak for all mushrooms.
Well,
are all phalloides bad? Do you know that?
No, but I'm rolling with it.
No, that's fair. Yeah, but in general, maybe don't eat wild mushrooms.
What in the fuck is 86 Chuck?
We're all made of 86charles.com, man.
Oh, you're such an ass.
Speak for yourself, idiot.
Let some more hate accumulate.
It's 2015. What the hell's going on, man?
It's scary.
Strange world we live in.
Yep, the wizard's up to his old tricks.
Hey, hey, hey! Our boy got some rain.
There's so much going wrong in the world that I cannot be concerned with two dudes playing butt games. I don't care.
God is an American. God is an American.
It's coming.
Nah.
Nickel, what? 5 topics currently trending. Travis, we have a follow-up,
John,
dude.
I want to know everything about the worm that I can. Tell me about the worm. The worm!
It's fair. I'm going to go as far as say breaking news on the worm. This is a follow-up to our last episode where we talked about our encounter with the worm. North Korea is getting another visit from Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman is on his way to North Korea. Was he sent by Trump? Former Chicago Bulls basketball star Dennis the Worm Rodman is traveling to North Korea on Tuesday, which from when we're recording this is tomorrow, but who knows when we'll release it, so who knows what that means to anybody. Hopes to meet Kim Jong-un, according to associates, at a time when President Trump is said to be trying to set up a secret channel to North Korea. Rodman's trip has sparked speculation that he may be traveling to free some or all of the 4 American citizens being held by North Korea, perhaps as a first and important step toward lessening tensions between Washington and Pyongyang. Trump, who had the basketballer on his Celebrity Apprentice show twice, has recently called Kim a smart cookie and has said he would be honored to meet him. Multiple people involved in unofficial talks with North Korea say that the Trump administration has been making overtures toward the Kim regime, including trying to set up a secret back channel to the North Korean leader using an associate of Trump's rather than the usual lineup of North Korea experts and former officials who talk to Pyongyang's representatives. It is not clear if the Rodman trip is part of that effort. Wow. Dennis Rodman, dude. Hand in world diplomacy.
I've seen him be diplomatic in the bar. He can do great. Dennis Rodman.
Pulling down boards, bringing home prisoners. It's what doesn't
But
Dennis
this is
do?
just the Trump thing. Even that there's like speculation that Trump may be a part of it is so insane.
It's if in fact 45 decided to enlist 91 as part of his cabinet, that's the first smart thing 45's done since he's been in office.
Wait, why is Trump 45?
Because he's president.
Oh, gotcha.
45?
I just was thinking of Jordan's.
He's the
Like
45th
as soon as you said
president?
45, I was like thinking of Jordan's second number, and I was like, why is Jordan enlisting?
He's
okay,
45.
Gotcha. Okay, I got you. Nice work there. But you say 45, I only think
Hey,
of
thanks.
post-retirement Jordan.
Well, I work on multiple levels,
Deep.
man. You got to keep up.
So what I'm worried about is like what's next? Like
Deep.
the situation and Snooki are going to Afghanistan. What's next, bro? What's next?
No, he would probably use Nugent before either of them, I'm guessing. If he's smart, he sticks with the old Bulls theme. I'd bring in Randy Brown as the Secretary of Defense, Scottie Pippen, Secretary of the Interior.
What qualification does Scottie Pippen have for the Secretary of Interior? I mean, it doesn't matter, obviously.
He's more qualified for any job in that position, more so than Donald is for president.
Luke Longley, maybe.
Disagree?
International, he could be the ambassador to Australia.
Sure.
Right?
Bring in Bill Wennington, ambassador to Canada.
What about B.J. Armstrong? What are you going to do with B.J.?
Secretary of Education? I don't know.
That works. Your Bulls theme is great.
That was just the only position I could think of, and I know that other broad's not qualified.
Don't know what to say to this. This is frankly bizarre, but shout out to the Worm, man. The Worm!
I'll tell you, is it weird? Yes. Strangest thing to come out of that administration? Not even close. Coolest thing to come out of that administration?
Yeah.
Maybe.
But
Yeah, of course, but It's nice to say something with at least a half a smile instead of, well, there goes the
you should
world.
look at all of it with half a smile because it's all a joke, honestly. Until we get bombed, it's all a joke. And then if we get bombed, whatever, we got bombed.
And I was just going to say it's all a joke until it's not. And then as soon as it's not, it's going to be so serious.
What happens when Rodman goes over and Kim Jong-un has his eye on this little chick and, the worm? Who's she going to want? She's going to want the worm. It's bad. Bad news.
Hey,
I don't know.
I'm all for it. Let Dennis run anything that he wants. I trust him more than I trust anybody else in that
Let
cabinet,
the chaos
so.
flow.
Go ahead, Dennis. Go nuts.
John, let's move on. Done with the worm, but let's keep it animal related, all right?
Ooh.
Bats force Pasco fire rescue crew out of station. A Pasco fire rescue crew has been edged out of its station after discovering some unwanted nocturnal neighbors. The county announced on Friday it had temporarily closed Fire Station 39 after finding a colony of bats in the building. The mammals caused an unsanitary and unsafe working environment. Officials are working with a wildlife contractor to remove them and prevent future incidents. While it is the first time the firefighters have been forced out of their station, it's not the first run-in with bats there. For the past 5 years, fire and rescue workers have seen the winged creatures near the station. At first, it was only at dusk. However, the population has since grown exponentially. About 2 years ago, Pasco Fire Rescue decided to keep them out of the station by building them homes called bat boxes. John, you ever seen a bat box?
No, outside of a baseball diamond.
It's just nice. It's pretty much just a flat box with a tiny little space to then get up in there. We've got a couple of them here in Idlewild. But this is pretty bizarre, man. The bats are taking over the fire department. Are you worried for the safety of our country?
No, I'm worried about whoever wrote that headline. Because that's a one-word headline that they should have used and completely missed.
What happened? What should it have been?
Bat draft.
All right, let's move on to the next
man,
story.
that's
That's
good.
it. Bat
Oh,
draft.
that's
That's a closer. Bat draft. Got nothing to say.
It's weird that it would get to the point that
No.
it
Seriously,
station.
we're done. Bat draft. That's it. Shut up. Move on to the next story. I got nothing.
I didn't even get to say any Quano jokes.
Bat
we didn't-
draft.
I had
Shut
Quano
up.
material
Next
lined
one.
up, too. All right, fine. Since we can't see, we'll use our radar lights.
How many times I got to tell you? I'm giving you all the credit for that joke. It was good. We'll give you that. Now shut up and move on.
All right, we're moving on. I just did. I lost my
You
transition.
had a whole thing lined up, huh?
I had a whole guano thing I was gonna do, and then seamlessly lead into this. But now I'm just gonna
the best
struggle. And Paul McCartney once punched Eddie Vedder in the face.
Guano.
Eddie Vedder once sang about getting hit with a surprise left, but we didn't realize he was singing about Paul McCartney. Not really. The Pearl Jam frontman went on Sirius XM's new The Beatles channel Monday to guest host a show and shared a story about how McCartney once accidentally punched him in the face. Vedder said he was lucky enough to be in a Seattle bar with McCartney as the former Beatle was telling a personal story. Quote, he was kind of illustrating how he hit this guy, and when he did that, he shot out his left arm as if he was hitting this guy, and I was standing there and got hit, Vedder said. He hit me. He didn't quite pull back the punch, you see. Vedder said McCartney quickly apologized and continued telling his story, but instead of really listening, all he could think about was how he got hit in the face by a Beatle. Quote, I think I remember tasting a bit of blood. He got me right on the side of the face, Vedder said. I remember it hurt for a few days, and I remember when it went away, and when the pain finally subsided and the swelling went down, I kind of missed it. McCartney turned 75 on Sunday.
So Eddie's been broken.
Well, there's multiple ways you can look at this story. Is McCartney strong for his age even whenever that happened? Could be. Is maybe Eddie Vedder a little bit of a glass jaw? Possibly. I was a little disappointed about that. I wish he had kind of shook that. Like a few days before the pain subsided.
Come on, think about the way he sings. Like, there's no, I mean, I don't know. You could take that either way, though. Like, right, the way he holds his jaw, wouldn't it make it stronger?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I feel like he should have taken that punch.
Or
better,
is he just like he sung so much that he's just deteriorated his jaw with how he moves it and holds it? And you're a Miss Barker.
McCartney has sung more than he has. He's probably got a stronger.
Well,
jaw
no, I'm
than
saying
he
the
does.
way
Vedder should have
but
punched
the way
him back,
Eddie Vedder
found
moves
out.
his jaw, it's very unique, right? It's a very unique thing. Does that hurt or help it?
Sure,
That's what,
I'll give you that.
that's
It's a little bit
we're
of a
trying to
chortle.
figure out here. I mean, I could imagine that Paul McCartney's.
It's a cool story though. Like if you're gonna get punched randomly and not do anything about it, because I mean, obviously the thing is to not do anything about it at that point. Getting punched by Paul
Right,
McCartney,
but
is a
even
pretty
if
good
you're with your
story.
buddy and you actually get punched, you'd be like, you'd give him shit, I'd hope. But if it's Paul McCartney, you can't even be like, you're like, oh, I guess I just got punched in the.
Oh no, that's it. Like if Paul McCartney came out and was like, "Hey, I want to punch you in the face," I might let him. I might let him just for the story.
Totally.
He's 75. He's not
A
gonna
Beatle
break
punched
my
me in
jaw.
the face.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. To have that story, people be like, "How did that happen?" I'd be like, he literally came up to me and said, "Can I punch you in the face?" And I said, "Sure, you're old." And I took a
Yeah, but
shot.
then what if he just wrecked you like he wrecked
I'd
Eddie
do that.
Vedder?
No chance. No chance. Dude, he would break his
Yeah,
hand.
right.
Break his
You're
hand.
full of shit.
There's no
That's
way.
enough out of you.
Are you kidding me? He better not go gut punch. That would reverberate and shatter his elbow.
Wow. You've progressively gotten charged up tonight. I like it. I'm withering away into nothingness and you get all pumped. John,
Yeah. You segue.
we got a lot of trouble out in the high seas. The driverless revolution is hitting the seas, bro. It's not just Google Laboratories that the revolution in electric driverless transportation is gathering pace. A Norwegian shipping company is aiming to be able to deliver cargoes by sea on unmanned vessels from 2020. The fully electric zero-emissions Yara Birkeland will sail next year in Europe. Oslo-based Yara International ASA said in a statement Saturday, by 2019, it will be able to work by remote control, and the start of the next decade, it will be able to deliver on a fully automated basis. The container ship being built will transport fertilizer, so the fertilizer will be the first thing. A breakthrough by Yara could have far-reaching implications for the maritime industry, which has historically consumed the dirtiest fuels available from refineries. On land, automakers are boosting their efforts to develop driverless vehicles alongside electrification. Ford and a Volkswagen and some other companies I haven't really know who they are developed driverless cars by the early 2020s, while Google's sister company Alphabet is testing the same technology already. John, we're going to be in a completely automated world in just a couple years.
Yeah, it's can't do anything
It's just
about
here,
it.
right?
I guess it's here. It's going to be part of our. It's going to be part of our everyday
It's
before
gonna be
you
Mad
know it.
Max out there, man. It's like, so rather than paying drivers, they're just
Dude,
going to
I
have to
don't
pay.
know, man.
They're going
Have
to
you
pay
met people?
vigilantes to just protect their ships. It's crazy.
I don't know enough of the technology behind it, but if we're just now starting to get these things, you have to imagine how long it's been in development. And there's no way it's just you and I came up with these questions.
Of course not.
We're not the first ones to ask these
like
questions.
the truck driving thing really gets me because like that's one of the biggest employers of people in the U.S. So if we're just going to lose those jobs right off the bat, like if you kind of know the truck driving industry and you know that there's loot in these trucks and you just lost your job, what are you going to do? Maybe take out a truck and steal all the cargo and go sell it?
You're going to go get another job. You're not going to turn into some sophisticated truck thief.
Do not.
I mean, that might make a good AMC show.
Do
but
not.
That's not going to be the reality
Do
of
not
it.
diminish the role of the truck driver in this, bro.
Not at all. As truck drivers,
Come on,
of course not. As criminal masterminds post truck driving career, okay, I'm going to minimize.
You know the
them.
routes.
Sorry.
You know where it's going. I'm just saying.
It still doesn't mean you can jack a truck. I know where my mailman's going. It doesn't mean I can steal
Ooh.
a mail truck.
That's a good one. Let's take down the post office, bro. Let's take down the post office. No, I mean,
Yeah, cutting open birthday
but
cards, hoping
like
for loot.
I know for a fact that like all those jobs that's a big thing. But I'm sure like look how big the sea is. How many boats are delivering stuff every day. Like, it's a huge industry, right? So it's going to be the same thing. And we already have pirates. This is going to be the revolution, speaking of Paul McCartney, of the pirates of the new pirates, right? Isn't he in the new one?
Yeah. I was wondering where this connection was going. But
So good at this.
You got
so
there.
good at this. Paul McCartney is going to be punching autonomous ships in the face and taking all their cargo. That's it. We figured it out.
Cool. And then Dennis Rodman will go and get Paul McCartney out of
The
whatever
North
jail he
Korean
is.
prison that he has to pull him out of.
Yeah. Hey, the future's
And
not
then
that
the bats
bad,
will
I
shut
guess.
down whatever organization.
Paul McCartney knocking out pirates. Dennis Rodman rescuing prisoners like First Blood.
This is turning out to be a really good screenplay we're working on.
Pretty
I don't
cool.
know about a podcast. It probably sounds like shit,
Yeah.
but we got something here, guys.
But for a future of America,
This isn't
sounds
America,
pretty dope.
bro. This is the world. Think bigger.
Yeah, fair
All
point.
right, next.
Affects us all. All right. Well, speaking of America and its poor taste, 5 things to know before you drink Bud Light. Travis, I know you like to drink, and I know you appreciate a fine, is it a Pilsner? Bud Light. Bud Light is the most popular beer in America. When Miller Lite hit the national market in 1975, it was an immediate success thanks to a massive marketing campaign and the diet craze that was sweeping the nation at the time. Budweiser quickly decided to get a piece of the action and set out to formulate a light beer of their own. They released Bud Light 7 years later. It has been America's #1 beer since 2001. About 295 million cases of Bud Light are sold every year, putting it head and shoulders above its nearest competitor, Coors Light, which only sells 118 million cases. Rounding out the top 5 are Bud, Miller Lite, and Corona. Blech. The ingredients and nutrition are listed online. Most people think that the ingredients are top secret, but you can actually find the information and ingredients for every beer online.
Yeah, but who would want to try to recreate that
Get
beer?
some
It's not like it
weird
needs to be a
website.
hidden secret. Like, great. If you want that piece of shit, go
Yeah,
buy it for
right.
$5 at the. You can buy 12-pack for $10.
And did you know Budweiser was once sued for failing to attract women?
What?
In 1991, a man named Richard Overton, we're going to call him Dick Over, sued Bud Light parent company Anheuser-Busch because of what he claimed was false advertising. After watching commercials with beautiful women flocking to guys drinking the beer, he was incensed that beautiful women weren't attracted to him while he was drinking it, so he sued. Needless to say, the lawsuit was thrown out.
That is fascinating.
So yeah, there's some fun facts about Bud Light
Okay, well,
for you,
first
buddy.
of all, Bud Light is a light American pale lager, John. So let's get that straight.
Oh, I'm so
and
sorry.
secondly, what I was going to say 100% is it's all advertising. And Bud Light probably of the big 3 has the best advertising, you know? Honestly, I started drinking Dos Equis after a brilliant campaign for the most interesting man in the world. Dos Equis is a much better beer than Bud Light.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. But the advertising
True.
definitely swayed me.
True.
It was awesome. I don't drink Dos Equis anymore because I now drink Modelo.
But when you see, when you see the top 5, those are the top 5
Right.
most marketed. I
Right,
think that's
but
pretty
and
easy
it's
to see.
Bud Light has always had really good advertising, and Budweiser too. The Clydesdales, but that's Budweiser goes on more the American thing.
Bud Light had Spuds McKenzie, correct?
I don't remember Spud McKenzie.
I believe Spuds McKenzie was part of the Bud Light.
But Bud
campaign.
Light has always been Bud Light is like the Jack Daniels of beer, bro. That's all there is to it. That's all there is to it.
Oh my God.
They're
You
both
are-
garbage.
Your level of foolishness it just increases exponentially by what seems like a daily basis. It is not the same thing. Just because something's popular doesn't mean it's garbage.
No.
And just because something's
Have you
something
tasted actual
is
whiskey before? Jack Daniels is garbage. Have you tasted
Yes,
actual
of
beer
course.
before? Bud Light is garbage. Therefore, I am 100% correct in this analogy or whatever I'm trying to put here. I don't even know what I'm doing here.
there's not a whiskey that you can compare Jack Daniels to that makes Jack Daniels
there
garbage.
is.
'Cause
There's
it's
a
not
million
a garbage
of them.
product. It's not. There are a million that are better, finer
Okay,
whiskeys
so how's
than
it-
Jack Daniels. Of course. That's not what
First
Jack
of all,
Daniels
it's
is
not-
trying to be. For what
Okay,
Jack
so, but
Daniels is, it's the best at
That's
it.
the same.
No
you're,
question.
You're making the
No
same
question about
argument for why Bud Light drinkers drink Bud Light.
I completely disagree. Bud Light's a garbage product, dude. At least in my opinion. I mean,
Okay,
obviously
so
it's popular, but
in my
it's,
opinion-
it's garbage. It doesn't taste good. It doesn't get you drunk. It doesn't. It makes you pee.
In my opinion,
If you're trying to
Jack
pee a
Daniels
lot-
is a garbage product, bro. It tastes.
You're insane. See, but that's why you're insane. You're
That's
foolish.
that's your argument. Oh, because you're insane. All right.
Yeah. Those are the words of a crazy
No,
person.
They're not. I mean, Jack put it side by side with real like bourbon whiskey. And that's what real whiskey is, bro. It's not this Canadian shit. It's not this Irish shit. It's none of that. Real Kentucky straight bourbon, Jack Daniels has no chance because it's not a Kentucky straight bourbon. It's a Tennessee whiskey, bro. It's a
'Cause
Tennessee
that's not even what
whiskey.
we're talking about, though. We're not right, and we're talking about
Yeah,
whiskey.
those are all
and
technically
for
whiskeys.
what Jack Daniels is, which is an everyday drinking whiskey, it's the best, hands down. It's not even close. It's not even a competition.
Well, so your argument is because it's the most popular and it makes the most money that it's the best.
Whoever did I say that? Did I ever say that
That's
it's the most
only
popular or
argument
makes the
you
most
could ever
money?
make because it's never won like an international competition. Is it Boss Hog from Whistle Pig? I don't think so.
No, of course. We're gonna. You know what? No, we gotta stop. We're gonna go over this over and over and over and over and over
just
again.
admit that you
So we're
don't
gonna
drink a
end it
lot
right
of
there.
whiskey. You don't know anything
Never.
about whiskey, so you need to shut the fuck up. That's it.
Please.
Go drink a Bud Light, bro.
You're
Just start drinking Bud Light. If you drank Bud Light every day, you would have the same argument for Bud Light as you do for Jack Daniels.
Jesse's favorite part of the show.
From last week.
Hello, folks.
This candy story is why the world is going to end. Hershey's is being sued because they're not filling their boxes despite having the accurate candy weight written on the box. Who gives a fuck how big the boxes are? They're telling you how much candy is in the boxes. This is a lawsuit over how much candy someone wants. If you want more candy, buy a second box. This is a great idea, though, because I know the company I work for has more money than what they're paying me, and I want more money. So I think I'll organize a class action suit. The problem is that opens my class action suit up to a countersuit if they find out there are some employees not involved in it. Because we haven't maximized our class for the action, they'd have a great point if they turn the tables on us. But buyer beware, employers, because if you've ever been sued before and not countersued, I'd recountersue for not maximizing your lawsuits. And now we've spent so much time litigating what we feel we're entitled to based on an unrelated data point that candy has gone extinct because of global warming, and now the boxes are empty. Also, I can't believe you guys didn't make a drinking tequila waiting on the worm joke in your story. Now, this is Jesse, and hoping I maximized my time was my favorite part of last week's podcast.
It's time for the Facebook World News Update. This Real to Someone News Update is brought to you by not eating anything that has the word death in its name. A man in Los Angeles said, "I don't believe in karma. If I was to accept karma as a reality, it would mean I have been an incredibly terrible person my whole life. I don't believe in karma. I don't do good deeds for some universal reward. I do them because it's what you should do." A woman in Boston said, "I'm at Fenway. You crackers really love hoodies and baseball."
Look at the mushrooms.
You have failed me for the last time.
Mushrooms are what are called primary decomposers, fungi, right? Look at the mushrooms. They only live off of dead matter.
Control your fear. Now, release your anger.
compared to the strategy of mushroom vegetarianism is an orgy of mass death. Look at the mushroom. Look at the mushroom. Look at the dead man.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
It was discovered that the largest organisms on this planet are mushroom mycelial mass. They cover acres, they weigh more than blue whales, and they're so old it's better not even to speak of it.
Only your hatred can destroy me.
Dead matter.
A woman in California said to our future kids, "Your dad, Steve, and I just spent an hour playing video games while feeding each other drinks. Yeah, your parents are effing cool." A man in Los Angeles said, "I've never used the term 'let that sink in,' so let that sink in." A man in California said, "Anyone have an extra hand basket? Need to put the world in it to send it somewhere." This Real to Someone news update is brought to you by not eating anything that has the word death in its name.
Dad's got notebooks. We don't know what's in her notebooks. She's gonna show us all her notebooks. Little yellow pad.
So a couple of weeks ago, someone walks into a meeting and throws this notepad on the table and says, "This is yours." And I look at it and go, obviously not. It's a white letter-sized 3-hole side-punched blue ruled tops notepad with a green top. And at work, I use yellow letter-sized 2-hole top-punched blue ruled AMPAD notepads with brown tops. I thought you knew me better than that. Anyway, it's also got this scribbling all over that's clearly not my writing. And there's some blue pen that I would never use. And instead of drawings, there are these weirdly blotchy shapes. So, of course, I immediately try and figure out exactly whose notepad it is because that's just the way I am. Because I like to think I'm Sherlock Holmes. And plus, it's a notebook, so it's my thing. Anyway, so if you look through it, on the first page, it's got this UCLA support portal number, and that's our insurance. So I figure it has to be someone that works here. And then it's got a bunch of things written on it, including drop the mic. But it's mic, like a guy, M-I-K-E, and it's not M-I-C, like the microphone. So I looked that up online, and there's very few results. So I'm thinking, what? That should be the name of a movie. So then I put a note in my actual notebook to do that someday. And then I also see that there's some real world episode called Drop the Mic, M-I-K-E, and it's probably sucky. Anyway, moving on. So this freaking notepad is full of phone numbers. Like, I'm not going to read out anything personal aloud, but there is the number from Lens Crafters, plus the names of current and past employees of this organization, which I find a little weird. It also has the name of this one specific past employee, whose name I won't use, who uses a different name on Facebook. And so, like, the new Facebook name is written, not the real name. So then I'm super confused. I think it's weird. It's super weird. So, right. And here is someone's name. So this person still works here. And then it says Lift Desk. So that's one of those desks that you, you put your computer on it and you can pull it up so that you can stand on it throughout the day, because apparently standing is the new smoking, except that you can't get secondhand standing like when you're like your asshole friends want to go stand around you all the time. It doesn't give you some disease. So standing is not the new smoking, but people just like to say that. Anyway, most people that have standing desks use them like 4 times, and then they never stand at their desk again, except I will give a couple of people shout outs. People that here I know that they stand at their desk all the time. It's pretty impressive. Although it's creepy if they're tall and their head sort of levitates above their cubicles like they're a Halloween prop. But I'm sure they're really healthy, and so healthy that they're probably just, smoking in front of the building to make up for it. But the best part is everyone's there, oh my God, I should be standing because sitting is killing me. Whereas people who actually stand all day, like, waiters or retail employees, like Barnes & Noble or whatever, they complain about their feet and their backs, and they're like, Jesus, if only I could sit down. Also, why is this customer so weird about her iced tea? Blah. Anyway. Back to this, there's some writers on here. I recognize their names. I'm not going to read them out loud, but I recognize them. And then there's something that looks like the word Humpty. So I thought it'd be really cool if they meant to write Humpty Dance, but I don't think that's what they're saying. I think it really says Humpy. But what does that mean? Humpy. And then there's a bunch of weird notes about writing credits. There's some notes about buying a car. There's a car dealer website, the address of a house on the MLS, which is the real estate website, and something about Swing Kids. Swing Kids. Wasn't Christian Bale in Swing Kids? I love him. Did you see Empire of the Sun? It's really good. You should. Anyway, there's something that looks like checkbook entries, more writer phone numbers, an agent's phone number. Oh, and the name Jane in big old print. Ooh, and this note that says, why not lease it? That's a good question. Why not? I mean, I chose to buy my car because I keep cars for a long time, but Joe keeps telling me that kids these days don't want to drive, so the car industry is, going to go out of business. So why buy a car? Just take Uber and wait for the automated car revolution. And I just say, mind your own business, Joe, because I like my car and I like my freedom. And if I want to go to some, do some illegal drug deal like in El Tadine or something, I can do that. I mean, you think my automated car is going to let me go do that? Sure, I'm not going to go do that, but I could if I wanted to, and that's the point. Okay, so I'm reading. Now it says 91 minutes, $25. What? 91? Is that a massage? What do you get 91 minutes for $25? Read. Mid-calf boots. Huh. Dark brown. And that's not even on the same page as mid-calf boots. It's just written on a different page. So I have bad news. I don't know who this belongs to. So I have an idea. By the way, I did ask other people if any of these things gave them clues, and they did say a few names, but I don't think they're right. But I do have an idea. It's someone who answers the phone and is taking messages to call people back, based on the writer and agent names and numbers. They could be in operations or maybe in IT based on that lift-up desk. Clearly they won or just got a new car, and maybe a house. Also, they like Swing Kids. Because it's okay, I guess. Swing Kids has a Benny Goodman version of Sing, 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 which is really good. It's a classic. And also it's about Nazi Germany, so it's also timely. So maybe you should see it when you're doing your research on the Holocaust and Manzanar, both of which are very important these days. Anyway, I hope that I didn't waste your time with this. I would really want an answer if I were you, so I would be a little disappointed to get to the end and find out that I don't know whose notebook this is. But I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to do some research. I'm going to investigate my hunches, and I'll get back to you because I'm very tenacious, and I love Sing, Sing, Sing. Have a good week.
I've brought bread
to men, women, and children.
I've brought water with lemon for the table.
I have hot tea.
Can I box that for you?
I'll bring your change.
I'm not sure if this is a good story. I haven't told this story. Well, I don't think I've ever told this story. But this is a story back from when I worked for a fancy pants, high-powered consulting firm. And I was this expensive consultant for this firm, and our client was, they shall remain nameless, a music publishing and record label of some repute, kind of a big one. And our job at the time was basically to herd cats. They had this big project going on, and there was lots of bickering. Let us say that this is not a friendly, skippy, happy, lovely crowd, right? And they needed a lot of herding to get anything done together because they kind of hated each other's guts. So that was my job, and I would run these big meetings with 25 people around this huge conference table in this sort of fairly hostile sort of environment with everybody trying to stab everybody else, and I'm just trying to focus on let's get some stuff done. So this particular meeting, it's one of those meetings that I recall, and I was at the time intensely, hugely pregnant. I was about to go on maternity leave. And I was gigantic. And when I was pregnant, I had that shape, which is where there's this giant protrusion from the front, right? This huge mass from the front, like the prow of a ship. And for some reason in this pregnancy, I was favoring the Rose Parade float style of maternity dressing. So I would wear these flowery, very cheerful, flowery print dresses with little ruffles and stuff. And I would drape these over my giant shape, and I would float like a barge, like a big old Rose Parade float. And so there I was, very, very pregnant. This is my last meeting before I go on maternity leave. So I am not particularly worked up over this, right? I'm relieved that I'm not going to have to do this any longer. And I got this on the way to the meeting, super intense craving for a Napoleon. And there was a place near this company that had a French bakery that had Napoleons to die for. They seemed like they were a foot tall, and they were layered with like crispy, flaky pastries and like custards and creams and chocolate, and the whole thing was dusted with powdered sugar, and it was just a massive and beautiful thing. And before the meeting, I went and I got one of those, and it made me late to the meeting. And I showed up to this obnoxious, high-powered meeting 10 minutes late in my Rose Parade float suit, and I heaved my barge into the room and settled myself down in the chair, and I'm running the meeting because they're in there waiting for me, and I get out this Napoleon. I needed a Napoleon so bad, and so I had, because of the giant pregnancy, I had this very handy table right in front of me, which was flowery and ruffly, right? And I couldn't reach the actual conference room table because I was too damn pregnant, so I put the Napoleon on my pregnant stomach, and I savagely devoured that Napoleon while running the meeting. And they were so taken aback. It was actually very satisfying to watch. It's like these 90% men, hostile men, had nothing to say when I would point at someone with my mouthful of Napoleon and say, "You, did you do the whatever it was?" Right? And it was like the best meeting I ever ran. There was no back talk, right? And I got Napoleon, I'm sure, all over my face, and there was powdered sugar flying, right? And it was one of the best meetings I ever ran. And after the meeting, someone who had been in the background at the meeting, who was a junior person at our fancy consulting firm, who was in a different division, said, "I have never seen anything like that. And when you decide to leave our consulting firm, do you want to go into business together?" And we did. And we worked together as partners for almost a decade. And we kind of gave up on the stuffy, businessy approach to managing clients, and we just sort of went for it.
And that was Deb's friend Margaret, making her, we're going to call it, triumphant return to 86 Charles.
Great story from Margaret. If I believe correctly, the first story was about falling in love with a stilt walker, right? At the festival.
Well, that's the romantic way of describing that story. What that story is really about is some guy crapping in somebody's car.
Well, yeah, but I just remember the stilt walker.
But yes, it did start with love of a stilt walker. That is true.
Well, Margaret's delivered both times we've gotten stories from her, so thank you so much, Margaret. That was awesome. Thank you, Deb, for collecting.
Margaret is a good storyteller. Oh. I was in that meeting.
All I could think of were two things. First of all, thank God I don't have a child, because I'd be such a... I wouldn't even be able to go to work. I would just lay around all day.
Amen.
Like, powerful to the women out there who have reared children and been strong enough to show up. It's insane. I would just cry.
I've seen women work 8.5 months into their pregnancy.
Totally. And serving jobs too, where they're like trucking around.
No, that's what I'm saying. I mean, but usually by that time they're sitting on a stool at the host stand, but still, that is ballsy.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
Heck no. I don't have the constitution for that.
Oh, and just the power that she holds in this meeting, where she's just like, "You bunch of idiots. You have no idea what I'm going through. Do you think I care?" But she's just I love that she's just floating along in her little
I love
dress.
that was a woman that was more dialed into her Napoleon than she was the feelings of these dudes at some meeting.
Right.
And that's what they respected. They were like, "Hey, we are very clear that Napoleon is more important to you than we are. So we're going to get in line. We're going to listen."
It's kind of
like she made a boss statement.
Totally. She put everything into context with that. Like, okay, it's me, my baby, and this Napoleon sitting on top of my belly, and then the rest of you. I don't really care about any of you, and you're all acting like you're big deals and pissing and fighting and being little babies.
She pulled all the focus and made no bones about who was in charge of that room.
Oh, man. Got to meet this Margaret. Have you met Margaret in person?
Yeah.
Badass.
Indeed.
Sounds like a badass.
Yeah, no, she's dope. Like, she's as dope as she sounds. But yeah, and the thing that I thought of, I don't remember if it was my mom. I don't know if it was when she was pregnant with me, or it was possibly Rick. But she had gotten so big up front that she couldn't drive anymore, because she couldn't, like, every time she'd get in, her belly would hit the horn.
Right.
So, like, she literally couldn't get behind the wheel because she would end up just honking the horn nonstop. I don't remember if it was me or I want to say it was me, but it could have been Rick. Bill was a skinny baby, so she wasn't that fat, apparently.
Skinny baby. Thank you so much, Margaret. Great story. Thank you to Deb, of course, for collecting the stories. Who else we got to thank, John?
Deb's the best. Best story wrangler in the business. If we ever have a payroll, I'm going to be honest, I think she's the first to go on it, even before you or I.
Oh, easily. Easily. She does more work than you or I. She's actually talking to the people.
I mean, in life, yes. On the show, it's probably equal.
I just hide in my apartment and edit things. That's all I do. And then I talk smack to you. That's it. Deb's out there in the world, man. Seeing things, doing things.
Oh, she is. Are you kidding? But that's good. That's better for everybody. Like, the world needs Deb. The world doesn't need us out there prowling around.
Well, not you. I mean, me every once in a while.
Sure, yeah, because people want you. That's why we stuck you in the mountains on purpose.
After a
man.
couple whiskeys, I'm very charming.
Like, we tried to hide you in the desert and you resurfaced, so we stuck you in the mountains. Next, you're going to the bottom of the sea.
Come get me, bruh. Come get me. You can't even get up the mountain. You're scared.
Please, are you kidding me? 3 strides, I'm at the top of your mountain.
Shout out to Bill for popping by on John Derby this morning.
Yeah.
How is old
Bill? And you know what? We'll give a shout out to the whole clan. Bill, Emmanuel, Savannah, Edward. Shout out to everybody. Thanks for stopping by. It's good to see you.
That's a good crew right there.
It's it was a dope crew. Shout out to don't forget Jesse. Always shout out to Jesse, our man.
Jesse McIntosh.
Our man in Amsterdam.
Killing it all over the place. He's everywhere online. He has an online presence way beyond us, John.
Oh,
just
that's
thankful he's attached.
That's true for most, but yes.
Yeah, sorry, it's not giving Jesse too much credit to have a bigger online presence than us.
I mean, it's still credit. Don't get me wrong. The intention is to give him credit, but to say he has a greater presence than us is, yeah, so does everybody.
It's all relative. Where can the people find us?
I have a shout out to.
We got another one?
I got a shout out to. I got another one. My buddy Mike Jindrak enjoyed our Dennis Rodman story. He is a huge basketball fan, old Bulls fan. Although sadly, I think he roots for the Warriors now, so he can take that and go straight to hell.
Suns 2.0. It's the new Suns.
The Suns were a team worth rooting for.
Congratulations to the Warriors on winning championship.
Nope.
With Kevin Durant.
Yeah, congratulations to the Warrior. I hope Kevin Durant's foot falls off.
Great work. I know Kevin Durant's listening to this. He'll get back to us. Big fan of the show.
Whatever. KD, come at me.
All right, John, where can the people find us?
86charles.com. 86charles.com. 86charles.com.
We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter and Instagram at Company Blaster. Send us a message. Let us know what you think of the show. How can the people help us, John?
Well, if you want to help us, if you have any interest in such a thing, go to 86charles.com. You're going to see an Amazon link. Click on that Amazon link. You're now in Amazon. Do whatever you do, man. Judgment free. However you would normally do it. You don't even have to think about us anymore. And then after you check out, they send a little bit of that over to us.
Just a little bit of scratch.
And that allows us to keep exposing Deb to exposing the world to Deb, which is a good thing.
It's good for everybody. Help us out. John, the time has come, my friend. Let's 86 something and let's keep it nice and brief.
No, dude, are you kidding me? We actually finished early this time. I could go bananas if I wanted to.
Well, if you didn't call me so late, I would have had a bunch of extra time.
So this is what I'm 86ing. T-shirts for legends. I don't know if it's an actual website or if it's just a Facebook thing, but they sell T-shirts that are for straight up douchebags. Example: this T-shirt has a dude like a skeleton in a robe. It looks like he's praying, and this is what it says: "I keep it all inside because I'd rather let the pain destroy me than everyone else."
Ugh.
Who thinks that of themselves?
Well,
and then here's this is the other one. Same company. "The problem with me is that I swim oceans for people who wouldn't even cross bridges for me." What an ass clown. If you look at even if you don't own that shirt, if you look at that shirt like, yeah, that's who I am. Please remove yourself from this planet.
That's pretty bad.
It's horrendous. And dude, that's just 2 examples. Like I looked through so many of these. They are all equally infuriating.
Well, John, I don't want to ruin the surprise, but I know what I'm getting you for Christmas.
This is what I'm getting for you. Never mistake my kindness for weakness. The beast in me is sleeping, not dead.
Well, that's true, man. I would totally rock that shirt. It's badass.
We're like, all right, never mind. I came around on that company.
I'm all in.
Douchebags.
The new boy in the neighborhood lives downstairs and it's understood. He's there just to take good care of me, like he's one of the family. Charles in charge of our days and our nights. Charles in charge of our wrongs and our rights. And I see